time to talk to one of my favorite people. He is a two-time Atlantic Coast Conference Coach of the Year. He is a star on ESPN television. He is Seth Greenberg. How are you, sir?
What's up, my brother? I'm doing fine. Still a little chilly here, but it's supposed to warm up tomorrow, so that's a good thing. And it's not snowing, so life is good.
Life is good. And you're going to be here on Saturday, correct?
Yes, I will. In fact, getting there on Friday. Looking forward to watching practice. Got a chance to visit my girl, Jackie G, my daughter, who's doing about a month, so life is good.
Oh, very nice. All right, let's congratulations to you and the fam. Let me, because I know North Carolina basketball is a hot topic for you on the set, and College Game Day is going to be here because Duke Carolina is happening regardless of the quality of the two teams. And there are a lot of Tar Heel fans who go, "Why aren't we in better position?" And I know 1-10 in quad one wins. Do you sit? I think there's a scenario where they could lose to Duke 3 times, but still sneak in. I don't think it's a guarantee, depending if they can win some other games. But when you watch them play, do they look like an NCAA tournament team to you?
Right now, the way they're playing, now look, I'm kind of saying that right now with the way they're playing, but their last 5 games, the lowest ranked team they played was the 90th in the country in Ken Palm.
Right.
But the way they're playing now, they're playing good basketball. The basketball, they're getting a little bit of the two-head monster, Allen Lubin and Washington. Ian Jackson got out of his little funk that he was in, and he's giving quality minutes, which takes pressure off of RJ, and then Jalen Weathers has been really, really good in the last 4 games. And that's probably the biggest thing. You know, they're getting some productivity there. Having said that, there's a lot of teams that are playing better now than they did early in the season. And, and that's the hardest thing. Like, look, I don't dislike Carolina. In fact, I'm a huge Hubert Davis fan. My son-in-law went to school there. The people of Carolina have been dear friends. My job isn't to be a cheerleader. My job is to tell the truth, look at a resume, and say A, B, and C. And, you know, I said on our game day show, and I think it was misinterpreted, was that their resume right now looks like a high mid-major resume. And what I meant by that was a high mid-major is only going to have a few opportunities to get a quad one win, but they'll probably have one quad one win on their schedule.
Right.
And they'll probably have a bunch of quad two wins, which is what Carolina has. Now, Carolina's playing better now, but they've got to beat teams in the field. And right now they only have one win against the team in the field. And I know the teams they've lost to are really good.
Yeah.
But then those other, the people on the other side, look, I lost out in the NCAA tournament bid to UAB and VCU. No one understands what playing in the ACC is all about and being basically screwed over more than I do. I mean, I had 48 months on the bubble. So, look, I have empathy on both sides. So, I mean, but in the end, you got to win some games. You know, our Tech team won a bunch of games and didn't get in.
Right.
So, I mean, look, I think they're a good team. I think they're a post guy away from being a really good team. Unfortunately, they weren't able to secure that in the portal. And I like what they're doing in terms of making a commitment, in terms of hiring a general manager and being more in tune with the culture of college basketball today. So Carolina's going to be fine. But you got to earn your way into the NCAA tournament. You can't have a bad loss. Can't lose at Virginia Tech. Can't lose to some of the teams that you might play early in the ACC tournament. And then when you play Clemson, or, you play teams that are in the field, you got to go beat them.
Yeah, the home loss to Stanford, and to an extent the loss at Wake Forest, will ultimately keep them out. So here's my question, and Wake
Forest is still going to be in the conversation if they win some games too now.
Yeah, they don't want to be in the field. I've watched them enough lately. It's clear that they would rather not. Based on their results.
Their roster is flawed because you can't lose Andrew Carr.
Yeah.
And you can't lose Boopy and replace those guys. And, Tyler was good, but he's inconsistent. And there's so much pressure on Salas and Hildreth that it's just, it's hard.
Yeah, and there's no question. Obviously, they want to be in the tournament. They have a crack tonight against the Blue Devils on a Monday night, so we'll see if what they bring. I mean, the point spread for this, and I know you don't really care. I'm stunned that it is a 20-point spread. I know how good Duke is, but, man, Wake's got to be super motivated for tonight. Seth Greenberg is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I wonder, because North Carolina did play, they played a ton of teams in this field that are going to be in the field, and they played a ton of teams that are going to be on the top line, maybe the top two lines. They could end up playing Duke 3 times. They played Alabama. They played Auburn. They played Florida. They played Michigan State. They played Kansas. Now, they lost all of those games. The only team they beat in the field, I believe, is UCLA.
UCLA.
Right?
UCLA.
And that was a comeback win, and they were fortunate to win at Notre Dame. I watched that game. That should have been a loss. They got lucky. Notre Dame didn't know how to play down the stretch and blew it, but still, they got a win. Good for them. But do you think the committee looks at, man, why did you schedule this way? If you had played a good schedule, not basically an NBA Eastern Conference schedule, then their record would be better. I don't know how you get away with, does the committee even take that into consideration? Because, man, if they had just played a normal schedule, their record probably looks better, and they probably have maybe a couple of better quad one wins.
Yeah, look, the committee takes everything into consideration. Here's the problem with the committee: every single person on the committee has their own criteria. They're looking at the resumes. They have all the information, but each one of them decides what's important to them. So for some people, I think that'll be a factor. Obviously, I think they have, if I'm not mistaken, they have 7 or 8 losses to teams that are, what super wins or whatever they're calling them right now. Yeah, I understand that, but you got to be Clemson,
right? No, I'm with you. And you can't get blown out of the building by Clemson. And I thought Duke kind of was kind to them. It was merciful in the last 10 minutes of the Duke-Carolina game. Speaking of the Blue Devils, Cooper Flagg looks like he's going to be fine. Tyrese Proctor looks like he's going to be fine. And it looks like Malik Brown will return at some point, either ACC tournament or the NCAA tournament. We know Duke is great. How much of that is, though, that they have been in this league beating up teams that they really should beat up? And I know they thumped Illinois at Madison Square Garden. Are they as good as they look to you? What do you see as maybe a fatal flaw for them?
Yeah, I think they got to get Malik Brown back because he's an experienced front court guy. It's an elite defender that is a really good passer and has maturity. They got to get Tyrese healthy, 100%. He was playing great over the last 5 games, 16 points a game, shooting the cover off the ball and making good decisions. I think the move to Isaiah Evans has been brilliant by John, letting him earn his way in. He's been short of magnificent in terms of 50 from the 3 and shooting, I think, 16 points a game over the last 4 games, or 17 points a game over the last 4 games. I think he's 17 for 32 from the 3. And what does he do? He creates space because he's such a good shooter. You run him off those staggers, or you run him off those flare screens where they slip. If you put him in the corner, you got to stay home. Or you put him in one corner, you put Knipple in the other corner, and you run a middle ball screen with Malawach, you got a problem. Because who are you gonna basically come off of? Who are you gonna tag the roller with? Malawach has gotten better. I think they're terrific. I think the job John's done is spectacular. He's doing it in his own personality. He's doing it in his own way. He's got a quiet toughness about him. I think that he's not Coach K. He's John Shire, and John Shire's pretty damn good.
Seth Greenberg is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Who do you think the best team in the country is right now?
I think Auburn's the best team in the country because of the schedule they've played and the success they've had. They're not beating people. They're basically steamrolling people. So I would say right now, even though Duke beat them, and we can play, all this stuff. Well, who did Duke lose to? And then, but I think that they can get the shot from who they want, when they want, where they want it. They are absolutely relentless and long and athletic and physical defensively. They have a number of different ways they can play. They can play fast. They can play slow. They can play through the post. Tahad Pettiford comes in, and all of a sudden he does his thing, which is he's like bringing Mariano off he's just a closer and brings in a different style. So I look at them and I say that this team is as complete. Now, could Duke beat them? Sure, they could beat them. They already beat them.
Yeah.
Could Florida beat them? Yeah, sure, they could beat them. They beat them at their place. So if you look at it, there's a fine line. But, to me, Florida, Duke, Auburn, I had Alabama in that conversation. Probably Florida, Duke, and Auburn have separated themselves. I do like outsider looking in, maybe a Michigan State.
Okay.
Just for the fact that their depth, they wear you down late in the game. They're really a pain to play against because they're coming out bodies. And Chase Richardson is just, that dude is something different now. I mean, he is really, really good. I think the tournament's going to be phenomenal. I really do. I think the tournament's going to be phenomenal. I think there are more good teams. I think there'll be, I wouldn't say upsets. Take a team like Illinois. They're finally healthy again.
Yeah. How
good are they? Iowa State. They got back Gilbert and Jones. All of a sudden, they boat raced, Arizona. A sleeper team might be a BYU team. I'm interested to see how they play tonight, or I think it's tonight or tomorrow. They're really good offensively, and they can make shots, and they can get it up and down, and not great defensively yet. So there's a lot of good teams, a lot of really good teams. And I think that, look, Carolina, if they get in, they can win a game. The hardest thing is, and that's the hard thing, because the way they're playing now, as long as they play well these next few days, but we also have to take in consideration the teams that they beat in this 5-game win streak.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. Let me ask you one more thing before I let Seth Greenberg go. ESPN college basketball analyst and part-time resident of the Triangle, because twice a year College Game Day is here for Carolina and Duke. Rick Pitino and St. John's. I've long said that the city schools have no chance, unless you're coached by Rick Pitino, apparently. But what he's done with St. John's, what would you say about that job?
Spectacular. What he's done is imposed his identity on his team and his players. This is old school Rick Pitino without three-point shooting. They're physical and relentless defensively, like their Louisville teams were. They rebound the ball, like their Louisville teams did. The difference is this team doesn't shoot it, although they're shooting it better. But Kadari Richmond and R.J. Lewis are closers. They're closers. Kadari Richmond, 6'6", is hard to keep out of the lane. So, I mean, could I see a path where they're at, I always say when you have a short turnaround, that's when you look for the upset. Short turnarounds playing against them is going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Right.
Because you can't get your team ready in a short period of time for that. Basically, the rock fight that they're going to put on you, and then offensively they've gotten better.
Yeah, there's a mystique also about Rick Pitino. Real quick, are you in favor of an expanded NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I think what we need to do is have 4 regions for first fours, take the bottom 16 conferences. That means 8 of those teams will move on, which you'll still have opportunities for upsets. You can't have 20 conference leagues or 16 or 18 conference leagues. We're going to have 20 conference leagues and only expect 6 or 7 of those teams to get in the tournament. They're just going to beat each other up. So, yeah, I'm not saying 96. That 70-something number makes sense to me. That makes sense for now.
Yeah, I think what they need to do is just make all the, have an at-large in each region and, maybe the bottom, the 16s all play in. They just need to make it more balanced. But frankly, I'm not sure that there are 68 teams that belong in the field today, but we'll have more because the big conferences demand more. Seth Greenberg, ESPN. First of all, congratulations on another grandkid, and we will talk to you very soon.
You got it, brother. Appreciate you.
You got it.